why should you care if it's not happening to you? It makes no sense. It's not your problem. Why get involved? You know what the perpetrator is doing isn't right. However, that only happens to those who don't look like you, who don't behave like you, and who aren't in the same position as you. Therefore, who cares? We all have our aggressive and mean side. When it comes out, we frighten those around us and might even invoke their anger. Is this how you're going to treat me? Is it? You think to yourself. And the answer is a resounding yes. But it depends. Observe. What did the victim do initially to cause such anger and thus the painful treatment? And so, according to what happened previously, you can now decide if what the perpetrator did was right or wrong, and if you have the duty to do something about it. Or at least stay away from the perpetrator before you become another one of his victims. You may not agree with the punishment, but you know it was warranted. The problem is that you do the same things. So, now, do you rise to the standard or do you rather remain complacent? Complacency seems better since the standards are uncomfortable and most people are complacent. Therefore, even if you're able to please the perpetrator, now you'll become a victim of the victims now turned perpetrators since you no longer fit their complacent standards. And no one will come to your aid since you didn't care when it wasn't happening to you. However, those watching don't know if you deserve it or not. Therefore, should they care? Now they know, but they still don't come to your aid. Actually, some of them used to be your perpetrators due to ignorance. And so, it's funny, morbidly hilarious, actually, how their sense of correcting what was wrong was running rampant when it was to attack you, but now that it is to defend you from what is being done wrong to you, they keep to themselves. It's hard to understand why people are cowards when they see evil being done to others since it's not their problem, and they don't know what the person did to deserve such treatment. But they don't apply that same logic when they point the finger to someone who's not their problem, and they don't know what the person went through to treat them in an unconventional way. Not evil, just different. It makes no sense. At all. Just keep to yourself, like you did in the beginning. It's that simple. Better fall on the error of consistency than on the error of predilection. But we're all guilty of that. No one should care. The world is too big and dangerous, and there are people who care about me. I can't take those risks. The Good Samaritan had a good ending, but that's not how most stories end. And then I run the risk of those who I save falling in love with me. No, thank you. I was just being nice. I do not wish to deal with all of your complexions. But thanks anyway. I'm kidding, obviously, but still, there's that risk of making that unwanted connection. Then people hated you because they thought you and they had something, but you were just being nice. Speaking from personal experience, I'm the one who thought there was something more going on. It's their loss, not mine. Moving on. Lord Jesus said to love our neighbors as ourselves. Therefore, why should you care if it's not happening to you? Because you're commanded to, and because it's logical. You know you'd appreciate the help if the roles were reversed. God put you in that place and at that time for a reason. So, do your job. Hell is for cowards. Heaven is for those who are willing to lay down their lives for their fellow men. Why are you trying to preserve something that doesn't last anyway? Care, brethren, care. The evil that you avoid is the evil that you're letting grow, which one day might harm those who you are willing to protect. So, care, brethren, care. Exposure to dangerous situations demonstrates what we are willing or unwilling to partake in. They demonstrate to God and to our fellow humans the roles we're suited for. If someone dodges a bullet to the head or gets miraculously saved by God, who cares about semantics? And the next thing he does is get up and scream, fight, fight, fight. Even if you didn't like the guy previously, he's undeniable for the role of leader, isn't he?